Sunday, March 15th, 2026. Buddha Dhamma. Today we are in chapter 18.4, sammā-samādhi, or sammā-samādhi, right concentration. Yesterday we were reading sammā-samādhi, mindfulness, right mindfulness. Today we're in part 1 of this long chapter of right concentration, sammā-samādhi. Page 1765 to page 1774. Buddha Dhamma, compiled by Somdet Prabhuta Gosacharya. English name, P.A. Payuto. 18.4, we're going to speak on the definitions of what right concentration is and the levels of what right concentration is, and the enemies or the adversaries or the things that are working against concentration. 18.4 on the top of page 1765. Sammā-samādhi. Right concentration and the final factor in the Eightfold Path. Because concentration is connected to the cultivation of the mind in its entirety, there is a great deal of material for study in the relationship to this factor. Concentration involves refined states of mind, and its development is highly detailed and complex. One may say that concentration marks the point where all 8 factors of the path, Magga Patipata, converge and engage in unison, in tandem, at the same time. Utilize, UC. Now the definition for concentration, samadhi, the term samadhi refers to mental concentration or a one-pointed attention. A common definition for samadhi is seta sekagata, or simply ekagata, which literally means the state of focused attention on one single object. The mind is firmly established on one object. Attention is not distracted and does not waver. The commentaries define samadhi as a wholesome mind attentive on one object, balanced and well steadied, or simply as a steadfast mind. They describe the essence of concentration as non-distraction, non-wavering. Concentration helps to gather together accompanying spiritual factors, just as water helps to bind flour together and prevents it from being dispersed. Concentration manifests as tranquility, samatha, and it possesses happiness as its unique proximity cause. A concentrated mind is steadfast and still, like the candle flame in a location free from the wind. The candle burns in a steady, even way. It is not immovable, but it is tranquil. It is calm. In the sutras from the Tipitaka, sammā-samādhi, right concentration, is defined in the forms of the 4 jhanas. Remember the 4 jhanas, the concentration, the 4 fine concentration, meditation, absorption, and the 4 non-concentration, meditation, absorptions. Monks, bhikkhus, what is sammā-samādhi? Here, a monk in this Dhamma, in the law, and the discipline, the Vinaya, secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, he enters upon, abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by apply and sustain thought. Vitakka and vichara, initial sustained attention with rapture, piti, and pleasure, sukha, born of seclusion. Second, he enters upon and abides in the second, which has clarity of mind and one-pointedness, ikata, without apply and sustained thought, which have been still with piti and sukha, rapture and pleasure, born of concentration, samadhi. Third, with the fading away of piti, rapture, he abides in equanimity, mindful, fully aware, still feeling pleasure, sukha, with the body. He enters upon and abides into the third, on the account of which the noble ones announce he has a pleasant abiding, equanimous and mindful. Fourth, with the abandoning of piti or sukha, pleasure and pain, with the previous disappearance of joy and grief, he enters and abides in the fourth, which has neither pleasure nor pain, purity of mindfulness due to equanimity, upekkha. So the fourth, basically, he has indifference, neither pain or pleasure, but abides in equanimity. The definition for samadhi should be considered as ways to describe the fulfillment of concentration. This is because the sutras sometimes define the faculty of concentration simply as one-pointedness of mind. Seta sikha kata. The example here is our monks. What is the faculty of concentration? Here the noble disciples, Dakshinaya Pugala, gains concentration, gains one-pointedness of mind. Having made a relinquishment of the object of attention, this is called the faculty of concentration. The commentaries offer a definition for right concentration, samadhi. What is sammā-samādhi, right concentration? The establishment of the mind, the steadfast of the mind, the stability of the mind, the non-wavering, non-distraction of the mind, the non-swaying of the mind, samatha, calm, tranquility, the faculty of concentration, the power of concentration, balanced concentration, sampojana, the enlightenment factor of concentration, which is the factor of the majjhima patipata, the path, connected to the path. This is called sammā-samādhi. In summary, you see, right concentration is applied for the goal of liberation and developed to support paññā, wisdom development, which understands things as they truly are. It is not to satisfy worldly desires, for example, by becoming an accomplished meditator in order to boast about one's psychic abilities. There are teachings in the Tipitaka confirming that the Dhamma practitioners can develop insight by using only a basic level of concentration. Refers to vipassana samadhi, insight concentration, a concept accompanied by wisdom and concentration applied for development of penetrative insight, which lies between momentary concentration, khanika samadhi, and access concentration, upachara samadhi. Now, as we move to the different levels of concentration, the commentaries divides the concentration into 3 stages. The first stage, khanika samadhi, momentary concentration. This is an elementary stage of concentration which people can apply and benefit from in everyday work and activities. It is also the starting point for the development of insight. Second stage, upachara samadhi. This is the access or the neighborhood concentration. This level of concentration suppresses the 5 hindrances and occurs before the mind accesses the states of concentration, meditation, absorption of jhana. It is the initial stage of attainment concentration. The third stage is appana samadhi, the attainment concentration, established concentration. This is the highest stage, the fulfillment of concentration, which is present at all levels of concentration, meditation, absorption of jhana. The second and the third kinds of concentrations are mentioned frequently in the Tipitaka explanations of the formal meditation techniques. Kammatana. They are defined in a clear fashion. Access concentration occurs when the mind relinquishes the 5 hindrances. When a person is focusing on the object of meditation, access concentration occurs with the arising of a counterpart sign, patipaka nimitta, a mental image of the object of meditation. This image is more refined and profound than an ordinary mental impression. It arises from pure perception. It is free from both colors and blemishes. It arises as a person is able to enlarge or minimize it at will. Access concentration is on the verge of complete concentration. The mind is just about to reach the state of jhana. Skill and proficiency in the access concentration results in the settled state of mind, which develops into attainment concentration. Now, from this point, jhana factors are fully present. Now, it's noteworthy that access concentration, the 5 hindrances are abandoned and the jhana factors begin to arise, similar to the attainment concentration. The difference is that here jhana factors are not strong enough. A person attains a mental image or a mental sign called animitta for a short period of time. Then the mind drops it into subliminal consciousness, bhavanga. Attention arises and drops, rises and drops. It cannot sustain that nimitta. It is like training an infant to stand. He props himself up and then he falls down again. He props himself up, then he falls down again. In attainment concentration, on the other hand, the jhana factors have adequate power. The mind is removed from the stream of subliminal consciousness for a stretch of time. It can be established in the state continuously. This is like a strong adult person who gets up from the seat and able to work all day. Now, the analogy there is interesting. The Tipitaka, however, do not seem to provide a clear definition for the first level of concentration. To help here, an outline of a momentary concentration describing its essential features may be found from the following sources. The Paramathammanjusa claims that momentary concentration, khanika samadhi, is comprised of mula samadhi, meaning basic concentration, initial concentration, and the parikama samadhi, the preparatory concentration, the initial application concentration, which are mentioned in the Visuddhimagga, written by Buddha Gosacharya. The commentaries give examples from the Pali Canon describing how mula samadhi is equivalent to momentary concentration. You see the examples are monks. You should train yourself. Inwardly, my mind shall become firmly established, well composed, and evil, unwholesome state shall find no footing in the mind. Thus you should train yourself. When inwardly your mind is firmly established and well composed, and evil, unwholesome states find no footing in the mind, then you should train yourself. I will develop and cultivate the liberation of the mind by metta, loving kindness. Make it my vehicle. Make it my basis. Stabilize it. Become proficient in it and fully perfect it. Thus should you train yourself. When this concentration has been developed and cultivated by you, then you should develop the concentration which has been both applied and sustained by thought, or which is without applied thought and has only sustained thought, or which is without both applied and sustained thought, or which has rapture, or which is without rapture, or which is accompanied by great happiness, or which is accompanied by equanimity. The commentaries explains that the state described in the first passage above, in which the mind is firmly established and well composed, and evil, unwholesome states cannot overwhelm the mind. This basic concentration, the mind sustains attention on a single object and is independent. The second passage describes the cultivation and strengthening of the basic concentration through the practice of metta samadhi, loving kindness meditation. The commentaries compare basic concentration to a fire that has been ignited by rubbing two sticks together or by using a flint. They compare the cultivation of basic concentration, say by developing metta, loving kindness, to add fuel or killing or kindling to this fire so it blazes further. The third passage describes an increased cultivation of basic or momentary concentration so that it becomes an attainment concentration, passing over access concentration. At that level of jnana. By focusing on another meditation object, for example, one of the 10 Gassina objects. Another example in Gautama's Buddha description of his own efforts is meditation. As I abided thus diligent, ardent, and resolute, a thought of renunciation arose in me. A thought of non-ill will arose in me. A thought of non-cruelty arose in me. I understood thus. This thought of renunciation, this thought of non-ill will, this thought of non-cruelty has arisen in me. This kind of thought does not lead to my own affliction or others' affliction, or to the affliction of both. It aids panya, wisdom, does not cause difficulties, and leads to nibbita, nibbana, nirvana. If I think and contemplate upon this thought, even for a night, even for a day, even for the day and a night, I see no danger that may result from it. But with excessive thinking and contemplation, the body will become tired. And when the body is tired, the mind is disturbed. When the mind is disturbed, It is far from concentration. So I steadied my mind internally, quieted it, brought it to one-pointedness, and concentrated it. Why is that? So that my mind should not be disturbed. Tireless energy arose in me. Unremittent mindfulness was established. My body was relaxed, untroubled. My mind concentrated and unified. Quiet, secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states. I entered upon and abide in the first concentration, meditation, absorption, jhana. The commentaries explain that the phrase, quote, to steady the mind internally, quieted it, bring it to one-pointedness and concentrate it. And the phrase, quote, the mind concentrated and unified, both refers to the basic concentration, to momentary concentration, which exists prior to the arising of the attainment of concentration, meditation, absorption, and jhana, as described by the final line of this passage. You see, the commentaries also offer examples for preparatory concentration, sammā-samādhi. Such a person who develops the divine ear, when this person exits from jhana, he focuses his attentions on various sounds, beginning with the loud, distant sounds like the roar of a tiger, the rumbling of the wagon, or the blare of a horn. He then gradually focuses less conspicuous sounds, say of a drum, a gong, sounds of music, the sounds of chanting, the sounds of two people conversing, the sounds of birds chirping, the sounds of the wind, the sounds of the rustling leaves. Ordinary people can hear these sounds, but someone with preparatory and momentary concentration would hear these sounds much more clearly and distinctly. Momentary concentration be understood according to these explanations. Some texts add that vipassana samadhi to the list, inserting it between momentary concentration and access concentration. Insight concentration is momentary concentration, which has been applied in the development of insight, which is refined through the form of meditation. Adversaries, or the things that are working against concentration. The following qualities stand in opposition to concentration. You see, they must be eliminated in order to concentrate, for concentration to arise. One can say that they must be eliminated by concentration. These factors have a special Pali name, nivarana, which translates to hindrance or obstacle. Technically speaking, nivarana, there are things which hinder the functioning of the mind. Nivarana obstructs the goodness of the mind. Nivarana saps up the strength from paññā. They are negative, unwholesome qualities that prevent the development of virtue and sully the mind, dirty it. Gautama Buddha describes the 5 hindrances in the following way. The 5 qualities, monks, are obstructions to wholesome states. Hindrances, nivarana, to spiritual growth. They constrict the mind and weaken paññā. They weaken wisdom. These 5 hindrances are impurities of the mind, weakeners of wisdom. These 5 qualities, hindrances, makers of blindness, causing lack of vision, causing lack of knowledge, detrimental to wisdom, increasing distress, non-destructive in nibbana, nirvana, or nibbita. It is important to recognize that these hindrances, when they arise, and not to confuse them with tranquility, calm, samatha, or the concentration, samadhi. The 5 hindrances are as follows, you see. First, kama chanta, the desire to obtain, the desire to acquire, literally, delight in sense pleasures. Covetous, abhija, a desire for the 5 objects of sensual enjoyment, kama guna, sights, sounds, odors, tastes, tangible objects which are pleasurable, delightful, luring. Kama chanda is the defilement related to greed. When the mind is captivated by sense objects, caught up in desires and attachment, easily distracted and preoccupied by sense impression, it will not become fully established, composed, and concentrated. You see. The second is apatha, anger and resentment, indignation, hatred, ill will, spite, malevolence, seeing others as adversaries, irritation, peevishness, aversion, displeasure. When the mind is continually in conflict and disturbed, unbalanced, and lacking fluency, it will not become concentrated, you see. The third is dina mitya, despondency and drowsiness, sloth and torpor, boredom and apathy. This hindrance is separated into 2 sub-factors. Tina, despondency, dejection, discouragement, dispiritedness, and listlessness, which are the symptoms of the mind. Mitya, drowsiness, inertia, sleepiness, drowsiness, sluggishness, laziness, doziness, which are the symptoms of the body. The mind, overcome by these mental and physical systems, is weak, constricted, and not solid for application. It is thus will become concentrated, you see. The fourth one is udanga kukucha, restlessness and worry. This hindrance too is separated into 2 sub-factors. Mental restlessness, agitation, vacillation, confusion and turbulence. Mental anxiety, distress, disturbance, turmoil, and worry. The mind overcome by these factors is restless, drifts aimlessly. It is not peaceful. It does not become concentrated. You see. Vichika, doubt, uncertainty, skepticism about the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, or about some spiritual training, doubt and skepticism about wholesome qualities, an inability to determine whether a specific quality or a specific kind of meditation or a specific kind of training, etc., is valuable, worthy of practice, or effective. There is an equivocation, hesitation, and indecision. The mind is obstructed, disturbed, and confused by such doubts. It's unable to become concentrated. That's the end of part 1 of 18.4, sammā-samādhi, from page 1765 to 1774. We read definition of samadhi, levels of concentration, and the adversaries to concentration. As we pick up in part 2, in the middle of page 1774, attributes of a concentrated mind. Buddha Dhamma.